What's up, guys? Winner Kills here, and we're bringing you a brand new and updated Invoked Mekk Knight deck profile. You guys have been asking for a new profile for the past couple weeks. I noticed a couple little comments pop up here and there like, hey, could you update your Invoked Mekk Knight deck profile? And I'm sitting here like, yes, I will update it for you, just for you. So every person that typed, can you update your Invoked Mekk Knight profile? This one is for you. I'm just kidding. But yeah, this build, despite everything I just said, has actually changed quite a bit since the last profile. I was just looking. I haven't updated it probably for maybe a month and a half, 2 months at this point. And I've definitely made quite a few changes. You can tell, upgraded the rarity of the aleister here. And that's about the only change of it. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. But as always, guys, you know we're sponsored by Imperium Duelist. That's right. Check out the links to them in the description below. And you got a discount code since we are sponsored by them. So if you want to purchase anything from their website, use that code WinnerKill to save 10% on future purchases. On the main deck, I'm rocking just the plain Jane purple armor sleeves. No effects on them. Very, very nice sleeves. If I had to compare the quality, I'd say they're like sort of like Hyper Mats or KMC quality. Been using these sleeves for a long time on this main deck. They've been on here probably for maybe a month and a half to begin with. They might even been the sleeves that I used on the last profile, and they are still going strong, shuffling absolutely smooth as butter. And really, really great sleeves. So if you're not into the effect sleeves, like I'm using here on the extra deck, the Shatterfoil sleeves, you can always rock some armor sleeves without the effects on them. Just as great, in my opinion, if you don't like the effect stuff. If that's not for you, you want to be more professional looking, more plain Jane, go with the regular armor sleeves. But anyways, we'll go ahead and get started with the profile, starting with none other than 3 aleister, the Invoker. Yes, so we're still playing 3 aleister, the Invoker. I'm sure that's no surprise there. We'll move on to the start of our Mekk Knight engine with 3 Mekk Knight Purple Nightfall. I believe last time I was playing 3, and again, nothing has changed. Still playing 3 copies of Mekk Knight Purple Nightfall. And the same ratio... The same ratio here with Mekk Knight Blue Sky. Still playing 2 copies of him. Very, very good play starter. Same thing with Purple Nightfall. That's why I play them in the highest numbers as far as all the Mekk Knights are concerned. 1 Red Moon, and lastly, 1 Indigo Eclipse, and 1 Mekk Knight of Ram. So I'm playing these each at 1 because in my previous build I was playing 2 Indigo, and I felt that a lot of times he would brick, and I also wanted to add a lot more hardcore going second cards to the main deck, so I decided to cut down on a few things, and the Indigo Eclipse ended up being one of those cards that I decided to cut because, again, searching the sky in most cases is your best bet, and especially since you have 2 Reborn cards in the deck, like, you know, Succession and Secrets, playing this guy at 1, in my opinion, works just fine. I don't see any need to play any more than 1 copy of this card. Same thing with Red Moon. This is one of those cards that you just search out anytime you might need to clear something off the field. Then lastly, 1 Lazuli, of course, because I'm still playing that Brilliant Fusion engine. I still think it works absolutely fantastic in this deck. I love the Brilliant Fusion engine in here. I like it over the Kaijus because I feel like it just does more for the deck as a whole, especially when you need to go first. I feel like the Kaijus don't do anything when you have to go first, especially when you devote a whole Kaiju engine like I've seen some builds play. I think the Brilliant Fusion engine is much more viable, especially when there's synergy with these 2 guys right here. Send these 2 together, add a Vrom back. You can use them as a normal summon to link climb even more, or you can send a card like Indigo Eclipse to the grave to fuel a card like World Legacy Secrets if you haven't been able to do that prior in the turn. So in my opinion, the Brilliant Fusion engine is really, really solid in here. Moving on to our other monsters that are hand traps this time. You'll see that this is like one of the only decks that I play hand traps in, mainly because I'm not made of money and I don't have money to put hand traps in every single deck, and I like to have multiple copies of cards to put in decks because I mainly have to sort of provide my own player base, because I can really only record duels here, and if I want any sort of different variety in decks, I've got to pick them up on my own at this point. So I try to have every deck to be able to complete on its own without having to borrow other cards from other decks. But this is one of those decks that I feel like hand traps belong in, just because I feel like it's the most competitive deck out of any of the decks that I own, and this deck benefits heavily from having extra fire and light targets in the grave for your invocation. And also playing on top of the 3 Ash Blossom, we have 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Because again, free light target in the grave, free fire target in the grave. Now, same thing can be said with any of the decks I play. If you feel like you want to play hand traps, if you see one of my profiles and you're like, maybe you could play a couple Drolls, a couple Bells, a couple Ashes, feel free to add those to the build in any which way you see fit. Of course, my word here isn't final. Feel free to make any adjustments that you like. Of course, if you have any questions about what adjustments should be made, feel free to leave a comment. So that is it for the monsters, and now we will go into the spells, consisting of 3 Magical Meltdown. Now, I believe the Terraforming hit was a couple ban lists ago, so that's not anything new to talk about in this video, but 3 Meltdown, because seeing this card is important. Getting your aleister to hand, very, very, very important. This card does a lot more than just getting aleister, perfects your fusion summons as well. Very, very solid card all around. Then we have 3 copies of Brilliant Fusion. Card is fantastic in here. It creates columns. It allows you to link climb, guarantees extra normal summons. You can normal summon aleister twice in a turn. It triggers your aleister, the Invoker of Madness. Like, this card does so much for the deck. Then we have 3 Mind Control. Again, stealing cards to link climb with is pretty awesome, especially with this deck, because the goal mainly, your classic OTK with this deck, and the reason why I think Mind Control and Brilliant are very, very important in a deck like this is because you go into your aleister, and then you go into your Borrelsword with maybe a Mekk or 2 and some Mekk Knights, and that usually secures you the game. So 3 Mind Control, definitely a must. And then another 3 up here, 3 Called by the Grave. Because again, card is back to 3, and I definitely feel like it should be played at 3 in here because it does stop the cards that, of course, counter you. So that is it for those 3 ofs. Next, we have 2 copies of Invocation. The card that I found that was bricking my hands the most. I decided to cut it down to 2. I know I was probably playing 3 in the last profile, but I think playing 2 Invocation is the way to go since it can recycle itself. And it is, we have 6 other ways to search it. Technically, you can count Meltdown as a way to search Invocation by way of aleister. So that's technically playing like 8 to even 10 copies if you count Terraforming. 10 copies of Invocation. But I wanted to put more of an emphasis on seeing aleister first, because without aleister, Invocation doesn't do a whole lot unless you're trying to fusion summon a card like Seraphinite directly from your hand. Then Invocation, I guess, kind of comes in handy. Then we have 2 copies of Instant Fusion here, because going for a card like Ragin is very, 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 very important in this deck, since he does fit in with the archetype, and it also does out problem cards. Another 2 of here, we have Terraforming, of course, self-explanatory, getting to your Meltdown. Huge. 1 World Legacy Session, 1 Sky Striker Mecha Hornedrones, a 1-card aleister, the Invoker of Madness, huge, huge card in here, and the Book of the Law. I did cut this card last time, and now that I'm playing 2 Invocation, I think it's okay to add in the 3rd Book of the Law, because this card, sometimes not being able to search with your aleister, or the times that you want to search with your aleister, you don't always want to search that other Invocation. So having this card as an opportunity to search changes up your plays, and especially with a card like Instant Fusion, if you do open up Instant Fusion, you can always Book of Law your Ragin into any other of your invoked fusions, which is very, very powerful. So this is sort of a little mini combo there to get you out of a brick situation where you don't have aleister and you want to get or need to get into a Mekk, whatever the situation may be. Book of Law makes it possible. And the last card in the main deck is 1 copy of World Legacy Secrets, because our other search target from Mekk Knight of the Morningstar, of course, would be Succession, but we'll also play that copy of Secrets because being able to search this turn 1, if you do have to go first, is very, very nice, because it does set up some form of interruption for your opponent to deal with if you can't always end on a really nice board going first. Because a deck like this with the Mekk Knight engine is generally, inherently, most always going to suffer from having to go first, because you don't really have any columns to work with on your opponent's side of the field. The next, we'll go into the fusions, and to get started, we have, of course, double Invoked Mekk. The fusion lineup really hasn't changed too much as a whole. Neither really has the extra deck that much. Still playing the 1 Mega Lands, 1 Purgatrio, and 1 Ragin, and 1 Invoked, or not Invoked Seraphinite, might as well be, I guess. But 1 Gem Knight Seraphinite. of course, for that brilliant fusion engine. And that is it for the fusions. 6 copies of fusions, I guess. 6 total fusions in the main deck, or the extra deck, I should say. Then we have some links: Boral Sword Dragon and Boral Load Dragon. I don't think I was playing both these in the last build, but at this point, I feel really no reason as why I shouldn't play a copy of each of these, just because not always do you need to go for a Boral Sword. Sometimes you might want to go for Boral Load, and having that luxury option is always nice, having those choices to be able to choose from. 1 Spectrum Supreme and 1 Morning Star. To be able to link climb into Spectrum Supreme in this deck actually is a huge help, because there are some cards that this deck cannot deal with just Mekk, and this card actually helps you out a great deal. I think Spectrum Supreme is definitely a great card to play in here, but at the moment I currently don't own a second one of these bad boys, aleister the Invoker of Madness. And if I were to play another copy of anything in this extra deck, it probably would be him. So you could probably consider, if you don't agree with this Spectrum Supreme tech, you can go ahead and think of it as a second copy of aleister the Invoker of Madness, because having a second copy of this card to go into late game, very helpful. But at 1, of course, it is just fine. And now we will move into the rest of the extra deck, which consists of some generic support. One engine being the Nightmare engine. Of course, having Cerberus, Phoenix, and Unicorn as removal cards is very nice. And last but not least, 1 Sky Striker Ace Kagari, because we do play that 1 Hornet Jones in Kagari, with the added token from the Hornet Jones that you will inevitably add back from its effect is a 1 card aleister. Very good. Very good 1 card aleister to go into. Very important. So yeah, that is it for the extra deck, and that is it for the profile. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys are satisfied with the people that have been asking for an updated Invoked Mekk profile. And yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this profile. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Like I said, if you had any questions about tech choices, some of you might also have thought about that I maybe didn't. And yeah, like I said, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And as always, guys, WinnerKill signing out. We'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to check out Imperium Duelist. Join the Discord if you haven't. And check out my Twitch channel, streaming every Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at 7 p.m. EST. If you want to catch a live stream where we test a lot of these builds before we do profiles on them, if you want to hang out, feel free to. Again, all the links to everything I just mentioned before down in the description. As anyways, guys, much love. Appreciate the support. And as always, guys, WinnerKill signing out. We'll see you in the next one.